Meggie handed Chris the form she had signed, and he read over it to make sure everything was in order. "You know, we don't usually allow visitation to high-risk prisoners," Chris said after filing the form. "Especially not to victims of the prisoner's abuse." "I know," Meggie nodded, giving him a thin smile. "But I greatly appreciate you allowing me this." Chris sighed, now walking alongside Meggie deeper into the facility. This Puzzles guy, he was behind the destruction of the Mushroom Kingdom. "Yes?" Meggie nodded. "That among other things. We were able to confirm his involvement with Ren's kidnapping, along with the various incidents surrounding and after his attempt at global enslavement with his 5-star show," Chris continued. "Though we were unable to prove in court that he was behind the Eldritch Goop. I mean, we all know he did it with the hope to control SMG4, but technically all he did was post an ad. SMG4 was the one who clicked on it, and we can't prove the hypnosis." Before Meggie could ask the question, Chris answered, "Don't worry, with his other crimes. He's already serving 3 consecutive life sentences. Even though we couldn't prove that one incident, he'll still be behind bars for the rest of his life unless..." Meggie looked up at him. "Unless he rehabilitates himself, I know. It's unlikely that will happen," Chris said, though Meggie couldn't tell if he was happy or sad about that. "Unlike SMG3, Mr. Puzzles has done little to show that he even wants to change. Plus, you all would need to be willing to accept his company in order for him to be allowed out." Meggie nodded. The two walked in silence a little longer, entering the elevator that led down to the deeper levels of the prison. A thought came to her as the elevator music played. "I know you're doing me a favor by allowing me to visit, but even high-risk prisoners are allowed direct family visitation. Has anyone come to see him?" Chris winced slightly. "I'm not really allowed to disclose that kind of information with you." Chris thought it over and sighed. "But, off the record, the only people who've tried to get in to see him were some dumb kids hoping to see Puzzlebox content. We didn't let them in, of course. But no family." Meggie nodded silently. The rest of the elevator, and walk to the cells, was quiet. Mr. Puzzles was laying on his back on the ground, his screen full of static. He was in his own world. The only escape from reality he had these days. His thoughts were interrupted by a loud banging on the door to his cell. "Yo dude, you have a guest. One. Swag shouted through the little window of the door. It took a minute, but Mr. Puzzle's screen blinked back to his face, and he picked himself up. "I'll be back soon. By Dear 7.0, he waved to Leggy 7.0. He had to disassemble Leggies 2 to 6 after he realized that they were not in fact his Leggy. He thought he had it right this time, but only time would tell. Arriving in the little cafeteria-style room that made up the visitation room, nearly 20 guards with guns were directed at Mr. Puzzle's screen. He smirked. If only he still had his 5 stars. He would, Mr. Puzzles. It hadn't occurred to the TV head to notice who had come to see him, he was too focused on the guns. However, this was a voice he recognized. "Ah, El Meggie." Mr. Puzzles looked down at the girl who was less than half his height. "Long time no see." It had, after all, been nearly 2 months since his arrest. "I'm surprised you came to see me." Mr. Puzzles sat down in the seat across from the girl. "Care to tell me why you did?" "Just so you know," Meggie said, "those guards have guns aimed right at you. Now, they have headphones on. Meaning they won't hear what we're saying, so we can have a private conversation, but if they see you try anything funny, or I give the word, you get it." I do. Mr. Puzzles nodded. "But you still haven't told me why you came." Meggie just looked at him for a minute before sighing. "I wanted to see how you were." "And why would you care about that?" Mr. Puzzles thought but didn't say. He didn't need to, however, as Meggie seemed to know what he was thinking. You've done terrible things to a lot of people, myself included, Meggie explained. But you also showed me a side of you that was different. Not cold, not cruel. Warm, caring. You claim that child is gone, but when I dove into your mind to try and stop you, I saw him. He's still in there. Mr. Puzzles scoffed, and Meggie frowned. I can't help you if you don't want to be helped, Meggie said. But I know you want friends. I want to help you, so please. Let me help. It wouldn't matter even if you could get through to some abandoned part of me. Mr. Puzzles shook his head. I am a monster, a shell of what I once was. You all helped me see that. He looked at her sadly. I appreciate what you did for me as a friend, but Leggy is gone, isn't she?